Welcome to the Master Dad Podcast. I created this podcast to let each and every one of you know that you are not as bad as you think you are. Society wants you to believe that each and every one of you are racist, bigoted, and just plain evil. I want you to know that you, in fact, are not. With that being said, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. I can remember when I was a young boy that I really wanted to join the military. That dream became a reality when I asked my dad for an age waiver at the young age of 17 so that I could join the military. He agreed, and on January 16th, 1992, I joined the military through the delayed entry program. I went to basic at Fort Dix, New Jersey between my junior and senior year of high school, and then went on into active duty after graduation. I have made lifelong brothers in the military and have been all over the world. I've been in some very bad situations and met some very cool individuals. I have gained a life experience that I will never forget. There are a ton of things that you will learn in the military that usually takes people a lifetime to figure out. Let me tell you about 5 things that I learned in the military. Number 1, military people of all ages tend to band together. Like I said earlier, it really is a brotherhood that is founded in military service. Sure, Army and Navy are rivals. The Marine Corps thinks that everyone is a bunch of pansies. The Air Force thinks that nobody is as smart as they are. But you will find more often than not that military people really do have a respect for one another that you will be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. Number 2, military teaches respect. When doing my basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, I had a drill sergeant that was funny, but also very hard. When we went to chow, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for those of you who don't know, we would have to hold our military card directly underneath our chin and shout in a loud and clear voice your last name and the last 4 of your social. You also had to end everything that came out of your mouth with either sir or ma'am, depending on the gender of the civilian taking your information. So, for example, when you were next in line, you would shout, 1, 2, 3, 4, Smith, ma'am. There was a lady who detested being addressed as ma'am, and one day while my platoon was in line for lunch, the lady writing down our information gave a snide remark to the drill sergeant about how all of his soldiers were addressing the lady as ma'am. Now, keep in mind that this was in 1992, and the whole hoopla about social justice was just not on the scene. The drill sergeant was trying to ingrain into his soldiers the habit of addressing civilians as ma'am and sir. The drill thanked the lady for her feedback, and then turned to all of his soldiers and informed all of us that we had better sound off so loudly that the post commander would be able to hear us in his office. The lady's face got so red, we all thought she was going to turn into a tomato. It was funny, but also very important for us to learn a lesson in civility. Number 3, military individuals work as a team. Throughout your military career, almost everything that you do will be done as a team. You win as a team, and you fail as a team. If one person is failing at accomplishing a task, then the entire group fails at accomplishing that task. In the movies, when you see someone fail at something and the group is punished, it is not done so that the person who failed is later punished, although that does happen, but rather to force the team to bring the person up to speed. There is a phrase that I use a lot, and that is, teamwork makes the dream work. and I got that from my life in the military. Number 4, military individuals tend to respect the beliefs of others. In the military, you will find that it does not matter what you believe, but rather that you do believe in a power greater than yourself. If you go to any military cemetery, you will see tombstones of every religion imaginable. You will see Christian crosses, Wiccan pentagrams, Buddhist wheels, and many other different types of symbols for all of the different religions. Number 5, members of the military know the meaning of responsibility. Some people do not know how responsibility is taught, and because of this, it takes a very long time for them to learn it. Not so in the military. I was reading a story about a soldier who was going through a barracks inspection. During this inspection, a drill sergeant found a piece of lint in his locker, and then decided that he was going to teach this soldier about responsibility. He had the soldier get a small jar and place the piece of lint into said jar, and named it Mr. Linty. This soldier was tasked to keep Mr. Linty on his person at all times. It went to the shower with him, it went to PT with him, it slept next to him. When he was in a classroom setting, it sat on his desk so that it could learn as well. During future inspections, whenever the drill sergeant found a piece of lint on someone else, he would exclaim, "I found Mr. Linty's brother. He wants to come home." And the soldier had to have the brother put into the jar. That was pretty typical of what happens to military personnel when they mess up. Was it silly? Yes, but it did teach the soldier about responsibility. Now, here is a list of 5 things in the military that you will not find. Number 1, laziness. The military is an extremely cohesive unit that always works together. You will not find a unit that has one guy sitting off to the side while everyone else is working. That is, of course, unless the person is sitting off to the side is either A, on light duty due to a medical reason, or B, that person is being punished by watching everyone else work. Rest assured that when those guys are done, he will get what is coming to him. Number 2, lack of discipline. Discipline is a key factor of all the branches of the military and is drilled to each member from day one. Number 3, a lack of respect. Whether it is self-respect or respect of others, you will not find someone who does not have a level of respect in the military forces. Number 4, lack of compassion. Although soldiers are taught to fight and kill, there's also a level of compassion that is found in the military. When you have groups of people in an area that are trained in those manners, you have to be able to offset that with compassion. If you don't, you will go crazy. Number 5, failure to adapt. Military personnel are consistently faced with change. Whether it is from constantly having to move or your chain of command being swapped out to regulations being changed, military personnel have to be able to adapt to those changes, otherwise they will fail. One thing that I want you to keep in mind, and it is a thought that bleeds over from my previous video, First Amendment versus Second Amendment, is this. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto was an admiral in Japan that attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And after that attack, he was quoted as saying, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve." This goes to show that America's enemies know to not take the U.S. military lightly, but also to fear the United States population, as it is filled with men and women who have served in the United States military and will stand against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So that's it. 5 things that I learned in the military and 5 things that you will not find. Thank you for listening to the Master Dad Podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like this video and subscribe. Also, click the notification bell to be alerted when I post a new video. And although I added 5 things that I learned from the U.S. military, there are obviously a ton more. Please feel free to add a comment telling me about something that you learned in the military. And remember, don't take life too seriously. You'll never make it out alive.